it is a free gift. Freely have you received freely gift. So anybody that actually comes within that range of to be forgiven, it is not even an option because I have received it freely. I will of free. I
of your free will giving.
Fantastic. Because that no be end. I think we can end on that note. You agree with him now?
I do.
Am I clapping?
100%.
All right, let's take a quick break. Now let's put on our serious face. We are bringing in the commissioner. You know, Nigerian commissioner is a major position. Commissioner of Information of Ogun State. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I am Dapo Aruwajoye, anchor This Morning on Television Continental, the program where you have vibrant conversations on current, topical, and sometimes controversial issues. It's always exciting. Join us every weekday. I'm sure you know the time.
Welcome back. We have Chief Adedayo Olumide Adene, popularly known as D1. As a renowned entertainment mogul and music executive, D1 started his career in entertainment where he revolutionized the Nigerian entertainment and broadcast industry and is currently the Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Ogun State. With all your view, welcome. Let us welcome D1. Okay, what do you call you now?
Honorable Commissioner.
Honorable Commissioner. Oh, sorry. The Honorable Commissioner. Come now. Sorry about that. I just used to call you D1. So, Honorable Commissioner, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I remember I was here when I was campaigning.
Before elections.
Yeah, before elections. And I did promise that I would come back.
Yes, fantastic.
We thank God that and now I'm back in another capacity.
Yes, so
Honorable Commissioner, yes. You're Commissioner for Information and Strategy. What is the strategy part of your portfolio?
Well, the entire portfolio in our ministry, we are a link, the bridge between the government and the governed.
Okay.
We project the image of the government, the policies, whatever the government has in store for the people. Ours is to present it in a palatable manner to the electorate, to the people that are being governed. And on the other side of it, we also serve as a conduit pipe through which the people, the governed, also pass on their hopes, their aspirations, their wants, their needs, their complaints to the government.
A few people accuse you of being a round hole in a square peg as a radio presenter, radio DJ, some said, and now Commissioner of Information. I'd like you to respond to that.
Ordinarily, I would say they are misinformed and they didn't do their research well. The radio DJ, I would, in other climes, I would have considered that as an insult. Everyone who knows my pedigree knows that I'm a seasoned journalist, I'm a trained broadcaster, I have a master's degree in radio and television. I was one of the pioneer members of Ray Power and AIT, a founding member. If you just Google me, you will know what I've done.
Yes, now let's talk to your job as a Commissioner of Information and Strategy. Recently this week, your government got their budget approved over at the House.
Yes.
Now, with this new budget that has been approved, what are your plans, especially your own commission? What are your plans, and what's the plan of the government?
Well, I mean, we, the government of the state, ably led by Senator Ibikunle Amosun, CEO and FCA, has always based our policies on 5 cardinal programs. We're talking about affordable qualitative education, efficient healthcare delivery, increased agricultural production and industrialization, affordable housing, and infrastructural development. And if you go to Ogun State now, and we're talking about all 3 senatorial zones, you will see the difference. Tremendous improvement in educational sector. You will see infrastructural development all over the place. As a matter of fact, this next year's budget, 2016 budget, over 40% of the budget is dedicated to education. Education is something we take very seriously.
I have a question. I know you ran for the senatorial seats back. Was it
House of Assembly?
House of Assembly back then, and some people have said that this is compensatory. The position you now hold as the Commissioner for Information and Strategy. Is it true?
I don't know how to place that. When I contested for House of Assembly, the party graciously asked me to step down and support another candidate, which I did, and that's what politics is about. It's not. At that time, and I responded.
Selfish interest?
It's no. You're called to serve,
Okay.
and I've always made that very clear that I want to serve.
Okay.
It's not do or die. I mean, I have a job to go back to if it doesn't work out. So,
Going
and I
back
was
to-
called upon to come and serve in another capacity. which-
Okay.
Going back to the plans of your government as regards education, we've seen what Osun State has done with the Opoimo and other people. What exactly are the practical steps you're taking towards education? Since you're spending 40% of your budget on that.
Well, we're building more schools. We're giving, educational grants, educational loans. We're empowering our teachers. Teachers are, getting more and more educated. Some of them are traveling abroad to get more information on how to, educate our students. We believe an educated people who are adequately housed and in good health, provide a good workforce.
True.
So, and we believe, in the next dispensation, when you're talking about power is going to be the next thing after oil. So we're leaning towards that. Someone needs to step in. Remember when telecoms came in?
True.
Nigerians were not
We were
prepared
skeptical.
for it. We were not prepared for it. So we had foreigners who had to come in and lay the groundwork and the infrastructure for it. But we feel the power is going to be the next thing, and our people are going to need to step up to the game. We are generating currently about 4,000 watts, and we need about 40,000.
Yeah.
Somebody has to.
I'd like to ask a question on power. The distribution of power so far in Ogun State has been majorly within the center. People along Mowe, Bafo, I have family members living. I've had a whole year of no power. In Mowe, a particular town in Mowe, just opposite the Redemption Campus, has 6 months of no power. What can you do to make sure that the distribution spreads around Ogun State?
As a matter of fact, the government on this particular second term, we are focusing a lot on the rural areas. Rural roads is going to be our major priority. The rural and the border towns, we're going to focus a great deal on them. Talking about the Mowe, Ibafo, Akute axis, their roads are going to be heavily, heavily concentrated on. And when you talk about power, those are things that we will also like to assist with. Unfortunately, there are limits to which a state government can. We are not the providers of power.
Federal portfolio.
Yes, but governance is governance. You're supposed to assist your people in all areas, in all facets. We recently, Our Excellency, you would have seen the news, we came with over 20 commissioners. The governor brought us down to the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, right there in front of Redeem, at 12 midnight, because the governor was concerned about the suffering of people who are passing through that.
Yes.
It's a federal road, yes, but we can't sit back and say, governance is governance.
True.
The road passes through Ogun State. It's one of the busiest roads, possibly the busiest road in Africa. Not in Nigeria, in Africa. So the governor felt, look, I have to do something about it, just alleviate the suffering of these people. So we will get to it, but everybody also knows there's paucity of funds.
Yeah, well, sir, my question is really to you. We are going back and forth on several issues. Between the D1 we used to know way back in the day,
and the Honorable Commissioner.
and the Honorable Commissioner now, what's
What's different?
Yeah.
I always tell people, and I'm not just passing cliches now. My life has always been one of service. Richard Branson, the chairman of Virgin Airlines, always said, the more people you serve, the richer you become. I was once a school teacher, and I felt even going into radio and TV, I was just trying to serve, just make people happy, make people smile. And God has always blessed me in return. And this is just another step, another chapter in the book of my life. It's just a call to service, and I always realize that when I help people, somehow God finds a way to bless me.
Yeah. So, but are we to be expecting more honorable
governorship
or
senatorial?
It's too early now. Just started work now. Please, let me go back to the matter of the year of the man, because the truth is that we know when we see people like you there, we're a bit more confident because we feel like, okay, you have exposure, you can bring development because you have an idea what society should look like. I've driven around town, Lagos State, we can see a bit of development here and there. There's some areas that are very, very not developed, I know that. Ogun State, you drive around, yes, there are those areas also that even, someone has said there's no civilization.
Rural.
Very, very rural. Now, although these people are actually, they're living okay, they are, in fact, even healthier lives than those in Lagos State, but the infrastructure, the housing, some of them are in mud houses, you know, as much as I know they like to live in their rural areas, but what is the government doing to even see how they can even elevate the way they live? Just a notch higher. The standard of living to be a bit much higher.
Now, let's remember now, in every part of the world, you always have the urban areas, and you always, even in America, you will go to some cities in Mississippi and you will say, wow, is this America?
Yeah.
It's always that way. So we cannot expect everywhere to be in Ogun State to be like Abeokuta or Ijebu-Ode. So there'll be rural areas, there'll be urban areas. And like I said earlier, we are getting to it. We are, this second tenure, the governor has promised to focus, seriously focus on the rural areas, uplift infrastructure, the level of standard of living in those areas, and we will get around to it. But you do remember now that we were talking, when in 2011, oil was at 130, 140, 150. Now we're talking about in the 30s, not even in 40s anymore, 30-something naira per barrel. So all states have to look inwards now, generate revenue to attend to this.
We are coming to that.
We're coming to that.
Okay.
Let's see what
before you come to that. For some time now, we've grappled with security issues in Lagos, yeah? But today, I think the government is launching some helicopters that are going to be used to fight corruption, which we're even going to beam live on Tvce. But my concern is, I think sometime last week, something happened in Agbara as well, some banks were. What strategies are on ground now?
Let me say something also. You mentioned earlier, one of you mentioned earlier something about the policemen helping a lady. I also have to thank a couple of policemen. Last week sometime, about around 11, 12 midnight, I was driving back from Lagos to Abeokuta, and I blew a tire, and I had to drive 45 because it was dark along, and I drew because I didn't want to stop. I felt, it's not safe. And I kept driving until I ran into 3 policemen just 15 minutes before getting to Abeokuta. And they said, why are you driving with a flat tire? And I said, look, I can't stop. They said, no, pull over. They didn't know who I was. They said, pull over, we will help you change the tire. It's not safe. Wow. And they proceeded to help me change the tire. They stood with me. And when I finished and I said, oh, I'm the commissioner for information, they said, we know, but you just didn't want to say.
Yeah.
But I felt really confident and I felt really happy. I asked for their names and we intend to commend them. So we have to appeal to our people. Not all policemen are bad. There are a lot of good policemen. Yes. And now going back to the Agbara, we will tell you, see, along that axis, that particular stretch of road, there are about 10 banks. And the intention of those robbers was to rob the entire street.
True.
It was the bravery of the policemen on duty around it. They actually succeeded in killing one. One ran back into the APC tank that was there and got it started. The robbers shot out the tires, but they managed to get it going and return fire, and which led to the robbers just only attacking one bank and abandoning the rest. So the bravery of those policemen actually saved a lot more lives.
True.
So we really have to commend them, and the governor has promised to, to commend the bravery of these officers. One of them got shot in the hand while he was trying to enter back into the tank, but it was the bravery of those officers that saved a lot more lives. And
IGR, very important.
Very, very important, because Senator Ibukule Amosun was in the news last week saying that based on dropped revenues, that governors from the governors forum meeting were saying that they are unable to pay 18,000 minimum wage anymore. Back to IGR, how is the government of Ogun State planning without depending totally 100% for their revenue from the federal government to generate revenue within Ogun State. I mean, if you're close to Lagos State, you should be able to tap into some of the opportunities within
Housing,
the
for instance.
urbanization in Lagos to generate funds for your